This is the most impressed I've been by a product this year. And that says a lot considering we've seen things like Jordan come out with their own gloves and cleats, and the Shutt F7 came out with the 2.0. But these are actually a huge upgrade. Today's video, we're gonna be taking a look at the Cutters Force 5.0 and everything they changed from the 4.0s. Before we get into the review, let's look at the unboxing and first impression, then I'll see you right back here. So here are the brand new Cutters Force 5.0 gloves. They came in two colorways this year. We have a black and a white. And just for comparison, we have last year's white and last year's black. So to start, let's look at the card really quick. So same Cutters card as last year. The only difference is now it is the Force 5.0 with what they're calling their extreme grip. Again, it is Cutters certified products meet SFIA. There's a couple different boards. There's that, there's Noxy. On the back, again, SeatGeek grip, RevTac recharge, which is built onto the SeatGeek grip. They're all weather, machine washable. On the back here, they talk about the compressed foam padding, the padded SeatGeek grip on the inside of the palm right there, the double wrap strap on the bottom, which I do really like. And number one is going to be the SeatGeek grip. Again, up here, let's take a look. So here we have the all white, and they're pretty similar to last year's. We're gonna see a couple key differences year over year. Looking at the back of hand, we do have three different segmented pads here. On the knuckles, we have a couple different pads with one more right there. On the fingers now, we have two segmented pads here. Then we also have a new overlay on the fingers to add a little bit more durability, and they also added a little bit of perforations for some breathability on there. Looking at the thumb, it's gonna be the same kind of TPU leather-like material with a little more padding, a little more breathability, and the same perforations on the thumb. On the inside here, Cutters has always rolled with a felt material on the inside for their Lineman grip, and that's because they think that's still a good material for as far as gripping on jerseys. Personally, I would like to see it a all grip on the inside, like the friction grip from D-Tac, or I'd like to see the grip on the inside be like the Nike D-Tac grip. But what they did do to add and get closer to that is going to be they added this grip overlay here with more SeatGeek grip, which is going to help, and that's something I do really like to see. We do have SeatGeek grip on all the fingertips here, all the way across on the thumb. We have a palm pad that wraps up and goes onto the thumb right there. And then we do have the same double strap cuff, which is super nice. It's like a really nice soft material. And honestly, these things feel really good. Like honestly, these are really, really nice. Let's compare them to last year's. So putting them on, these ones actually feel a lot better. This one feels really stiff, it's hard in the knuckles, and this one just feels like your hand can move a lot easier. As far as the padding goes, again, this is last year's, this is this year's. You can see they changed the shapes a little bit. They also got rid of one of the padding on the fingertips and just went with an overlay. So you have a little bit better feel with these gloves on there. I do also like that they went with the actual whiteout look on these, so they got rid of the black on this. With this one, with the white, I think that's a really nice touch. And on the padding on the back of hand, I think you have a lot more flexibility because this one is like a really big pad everywhere, where this one they kind of segmented. These feel really good. The strap on the back though is going to be the exact same, a little bit different design around the Cutters logo and how they placed it, but still really nice. Looking at the thumbs, you can see this one they actually extended and added another pad here, where this one has no pads down here, so they added another pad, whereas it's still actually a lot easier to move this thumb than it is this one. So they added more pads and made it more flexible, which is super nice. On the inside here, the palm pad looks similar, although on this year's you can see they segmented it a little less. It's kind of like a bigger pad. SeatGeek is gonna be the same, thumbs are gonna be, or fingertips are gonna be the same sewn in, and you can see the difference is gonna be this overlay on this one, which is gonna make it easier to grab a football. Super nice. Now this year again, they came in white and black. Last year, same thing, but man, these feel really good. These feel super good. Like honestly, way better than last year's. When I first got these, I didn't really think it was that dramatic of a change, but when I put them on, they just feel so much more flexible and so much easier to move my hands. Looking at the black here, I really like how they actually blacked it out here. I like that they got rid of this and they kind of switched those, so that's super nice to see. Again, the padding on here. Overall, these gloves are like a huge upgrade year over year. And black is gonna be a lot easier to see that SeatGeek grip on the inside here. First impressions, these are honestly really nice, a really big upgrade year over year. And I actually didn't even notice on the white ones, there is a little grip on the inside of the thumb right there. All right, let's actually go into the full review.
This whole month is brought to you guys by Q-Collar. The Q-Collar is revolutionary technology proven to help protect the brain from the effects of repetitive impacts that you likely aren't thinking about when you play, but they do add up over time. I'm not going to get too deep into the woods on the science side here because we did a whole video last year breaking down why so many NFL players are starting to wear it. And you can see even more guys have adopted it to keep their head in the game and to keep themselves safe. These days, getting a brand new helmet can cost over $1,000, which is not easy for a lot of you guys to do. And the Q-Collar protects the brain in the way that helmets just can't. If you're interested in taking further steps to help protect your future with the Q-Collar, visit Q30.com. That's Q30.com. Enjoy the rest of the video.
So the last Lineman video I did, I talked about every time a product has an upgrade, at the same time it has to have a downgrade, and that's so it can stay at that same price point wherever it was at before. Well, somehow they did a ton of upgrades from the 4.0 to the 5.0, but the price is the same. Now looking back at last year's model, there was a couple things I really didn't like about this glove. I'm not a fan of the felt grip on the inside. I found it a little stiff, a little bulky, and I didn't enjoy that it only came in black and white. Well, frankly, they can't fix all that in one go. Well, they made a ton of improvements to this glove with somehow keeping it at the same price, and I'm not really sure how. Today we're gonna be looking at items like fit and comfort, breathability, durability, protection, style, price, and what positions we recommend this glove for. First one we're gonna talk about is fit and comfort. Now, when I first slipped these gloves on, I was honestly blown away with how different they felt from last year's. Considering from the outside, they really look no different. The fingertips move way easier. Your four main fingers here, they move a lot easier on this year's versus last year's, but the biggest is actually gonna be in the thumb. This thumb is super restricting on the old one, where this one, there's tons of mobility. Again, it doesn't really make a ton of sense because it actually has two thicker, bigger pads on it, but somehow at the same time, it moves a lot easier. Don't really know how they did that. It's practically the same materials and more padding, but somehow it's more comfortable, fits better, and it somehow feels a lot lighter on your hand and less bulky. Honestly, I would say these things fit as good or better than the Nike D-Tacs, only because the Nike D-Tacs have their Magna grip on the inside, which is a lot thicker and limits little mobility. For that reason, these might be the best fitting Lineman gloves on the market. The Under Armour Combat is also close, but I do like these just a little bit more. Oh, and I did forget to mention that same thing year over year, it still has this extra long wrist strap, which is super comfortable, super luxurious feeling, wraps all the way around, and gives you a really nice comfort on your wrist. Next, we're talking about breathability. There is none. Now, there's really not a lot you can say here, and frankly, there's not a lot that they can do about this. This is a Lineman glove, which means it has really thick padding, ton of durability, a lot of stuff sewn in, and a lot of that heat is going to be held in. Now, they did try their best to add some perforations to the foam in the back and the top of the finger caps, but it's a Lineman glove. You know what you're getting yourself into when you put these things on. Even wearing them here, my hands are getting hot, and this wrist strap, although super comfortable, again, holds in a lot of heat. Next thing we're going to talk about is grip. Now, there's two different materials on the inside here for grip. We have the Cutter C-Tag grip on the tops of fingers and this palm pad, and then underneath it, you can see it still has this existing layer of felt pad. Now, like I said earlier, I don't love the felt, and that's because I've kind of been chasing the dragon ever since Nike came out with the Hyper Beast with that Magna grip. I just love the friction grip, and I wish more companies would pick up on it. Having said that, Cutter says they do really enjoy their felt grip because they say it is good for gripping jerseys, really durable, and you can also still hold a football with it. The last one I disagree with a little bit just because I have really short fingers, and with this just felt grip, I found like I'm really relying on just my fingertips to grab the football because my hands are so small. So I'm not really in love with these for a center if you're looking at the Force 4.0s. The other thing I don't really like about the felt grip is being in Canada, we deal with a lot of snow and a lot of rain, and that means this felt soaks all that up. So if you're dealing with any snow when you're playing, you fall on the ground, this felt's gonna soak it up and your gloves are gonna get heavy, wet, and cold. Now, they did leave that felt grip, but they have a secret weapon that they just put on top. Notice something a little shiny on there? Yeah, what this grid is actually a grid system of more Cutter C-Tag grip, which makes it a lot easier to grab and hold onto a football.
Totally redeem yourself!
Like I said, the biggest thing I was struggling with the football is kind of getting some grip on my palm here when there's just not a lot going on. Where now with this little layer of C-Tac, I find it way easier to grab and hold onto a football with these things, especially with the amount more dexterity I have. I just find it way easier to grab and hold onto a football than last year's. Especially with the amount more dexterity that these gloves have over the Force 4.0s, it's just way easier to grab a football with the 5.0s. And like I said, with most gloves, whenever there's an upgrade, there's always a downgrade, but somehow they added this upgrade and kept it at the same price.
That's a W! That's E1! That's E1, that's a W!
Also, I didn't talk a ton about grip in this, but Cutters has their own proprietary grip called C-Tac. The really cool thing about C-Tac, it is super sticky, really durable, but also if you do wash it, just wipe it off, it recharges itself and makes it instantly sticky again. So easily one of the best grips on the market. Next thing we're gonna look at protection. Like I said, some of the pads on this are a little bigger, where some are a little smaller. The pads on the back of your fingers are a little bigger in this year's over this year's, where on the back of the hand here, last year's are a little bit bigger, where these ones are a little more raised and have a little bit bigger gaps in between them. I'm assuming that's what's adding to the amount of mobility. So if you have to lose a little protection for that, I would take it. And the big one in this is actually the thumb. The thumb pads are clearly bigger on this year's over last year's, but they're just so much easier to move your thumb. So I really don't know how they did that. Like I said, somehow more padding, more protection, but also more comfortable. Those two normally don't go together. Next up, durability. Now, being a lineman glove, there's always a couple points of failure that I look for. I cannot definitively say how long these gloves will last because we can't put them through a full couple years of testing. We go through so many different gloves on this. All we can do is point out the places we know are common to fail and help you guys out with that. Common place that all lineman gloves fail is going to be on the palm. The Nike D-Tacs, with even their thick magnet grip, have ripped in the past and have durability issues. I don't think these will be any different than any other lineman glove. They do risk ripping in the palm. On the fingertips here, we do have the sewn in C-Tac, so that exposed sewing here might be a point of failure. The C-Tac on the palm is also, screen printed or glued on, so I don't see that being durable forever. However, I can't say definitively how long it will last. Other than that, everything on this glove is sewn in, nothing else is screen printed on. They're gonna be super durable, but like most lineman gloves, they will be most likely to fail in the palm area. Next up, style. We got one good and one bad. The one good is that they actually reversed how the C's go on the black and white glove. Last year, they had the black C on the white glove, the white C on the black glove. This year, they color blocked it to put the black C on the black glove and the white C on the white glove. Personally, I like that. It fits in with all of Cutter's stuff where it's all color blocked, so good to see him sticking to the brand. I like the all white and I like the all black. But that's the other downside, is there's only white and black. Now, having said that, that's really hard to hold against Cutters because the only company on the market to ever make multiple colored lineman gloves was Nike. And even with those D-Tacs, you're gonna be pressed to find them in anything other than black. So if guys like Under Armour, Nike, and Adidas are all struggling to do anything other than black or white lineman gloves, I wouldn't fault Cutters that much for it. Next thing we're gonna talk about is positions. Now, like I said, the Force 4.0, I recommend it for every position except center because I felt like they'd be a good durable lineman glove, but they're just lacking that grip needed if you were an undersized center and had smaller hands like myself. But now that they added the C-Tac on the inside, we can confidently recommend these for every position on the line, including center, guards, tackles, and every position at the D-line. These gloves are pretty sweet. Finally, price. Now, for comparison, the Nike D-Tacs are $70 and come in more colorways, technically, again, hard to find right now. The Under Armour Combats are $60, and these Cutters Force 5.0s come in at $65. Now, like I said, the D-Tacs, I still love the grip on the inside. I love that you can potentially get them in multiple colorways, and I like these a little bit more than the Combats. So sitting right between that 60 and 70 at 65, makes sense for these gloves. And that's it. Overall, I am super impressed with these gloves. I loved all the changes they made. They made this glove so much better and such a better value at the same price. So overall, if you are looking and you find the 4.0s online, I'd highly recommend searching a little bit harder and finding the 5.0s. And if you just want to grab the 5.0s for yourself right now, we'll link them down below. Hope you guys enjoyed today's video. I'll check you next time.